That's all I wanted. Something special, something sacred in your eyes. Hello everybody, welcome to another fun-filled, exciting episode of Music Video Discussions. I'm your host, Cullen, better known as C-Man. Let's check it out. Here we go. Today's episode is about the late great pop artist George Michael, father figure. Alright, this is a special episode. Today I'm going to be discussing a really good pop artist that we all remembered. He was a really cool dude. Who else? George Michael. So anyway, here we go. It's time for George Michael, father figure. If you don't remember, George Michael was famous doing this video, father figure. This video was actually filmed, I think, in somewhere in Los Angeles. It looked like a pretty damn exciting video. We have this model person, like, oh, I'm gonna get a taxi, and George Michael played a kick-ass taxi cab driver. It's like, I have to admit, George Michael looked very dramatic in that video. Oh, hey. Also, the guy was actually smoking a cigarette. He was like, he actually was like a badass. I mean, people shouldn't smoke. What George Michael did was like pretty cool as hell, you know, for anybody to do. You know, pop music, and I was proud of it. It was pretty cool. A lot of people who would see this video, like George Michael become a cab driver, he looked really cool. What he did looked fucking incredible, just driving an automobile and like doing awesome shit like this. Like there's like a bunch of models showing up. They look like they were fucking ready for the big time to do crap like this. If you get famous as a model, you do really cool shit, you know. Watching that video, it just felt like what George Michael did. I don't want to spy on you. George Michael was like being like a fucking cool dude and see how the model was doing, and it felt really romantic for why the pop artist was actually in that video, and it was incredible, you know. I had a good time though. What was really incredible, when this model person was there, the photographer guy was like, I got you, you're gonna be famous. Just like when people do awesome stuff, it's really fucking amazing for anybody to be famous. Like when George Michael saw the model, that shit was just very serious what like George Michael did. George Michael felt very, you know, intimate with the model actually. That's a winner. It's really fucking amazing for why people would do shit like this. It just sucked why like the model was like really angry. It wasn't too bad of a show for why people would become models. I mean, it wasn't really that fucked up. That girl looked like she would be very, you know, dramatic, and people do modeling and stuff like that. It looks like people are doing their damn jobs and stuff like that for why people would just want to be a model and stuff like this. The message of the song to George Michael's father figure was, if you are the desert, I'll be the sea. If you ever hunger for me. Whatever you ask for, that's where I'll be. That's actually very like romantic and beautiful for like one fucking pop song. If you see the video, I know MTV did show the video for doing shit like that. Before MTV was just nothing to say. I mean, it's so fucking amazing. Oh, I got this. See, George Michael was doing like R&B soul music. George Michael was like a fucking heroic British person, a pop artist, kicking ass and stuff like that. I mean, you might not see George Michael anyway. It's fucked up without the pop singer. Like when he did Father Figure, he looked like he was in love with the model, and a lot of people who like modeling. George Michael looks so like cool with the shades. He's like, yeah. He looked dramatic, and that was like one of the most dramatic scenes of what George Michael did, and it was incredible. Anyway, like a lot of people who ever heard of George Michael's music, Father Figure was like a really great song that did well in England and America. When George Michael died on Christmas Day, it was like a fucking lightning rod. Made Christmas really devastating and shit like this. George Michael dying on Christmas Day was very unacceptable for why pop music has been so crappy. Like, George Michael was actually in his 50s. He looked really bloated. He looked fucking sad. Like, when he won, like, VMAs in, I think, 1988, he was a superstar. He was one of the coolest like, pop artists to do shit like that. Like, him dying on Christmas Day, it sucks. It was just like, they just gave us a bad fucking time to kill a really good pop artist in Europe. And George Michael was, like, successful. Like, when, like, him dying on Christmas Day, it just was a bad fucking time. Losing him, it didn't feel like that was appropriate. A lot of, like, news correspondents were like, breaking news, George Michael is dead. I miss George Michael, like, when he did pop music. Even Father Figure was... I had to admit, it was a great music video, great song. It was good. It had to be. So what we learned about this episode, George Michael was a bona fide great superstar. He was Mr. 80s. That's right, Mr. 80s. That was my George Michael ode. Even like when George Michael made, you know, Father Figure, and the model had to be one of the coolest model person I ever saw. Him winning VMAs, you know, MTV now does VMAs and they're really, really bad. But when George Michael, like, did Father Figure and other songs, he's cool. The dude was the knight in shining armor. I had to admit he was actually a really good performer to do pop music, and I loved him so much. Alright. I'd like to thank everybody who was watching this really great episode of Music Video Discussions. I'd like to thank everybody who was checking out this show. It was a special episode. I'd like to thank everyone who had a good time watching this program. It was really fun. It was pretty damn exciting and kicked ass. Hope you had a good time watching the show, and thanks for watching. Good night.
And a 1, and a 2, and a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Lisa, it's your birthday. God bless you this day. You gave me the gift of a little sister, and I'm proud of you today. Lisa, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Lisa. Lisa, it's your birthday. Happy birthday, Lisa. I wish you love and goodwill. I wish you praise and joy.
I wish you better than your heart desires,
and your first kiss from a boy.